It is a name that has currently been a topic of discussions all over social media and also in the mainstream media. The name of one Margaret Nduta MACHARIA, a Kenyan citizen who is supposed to be executed tomorrow to face the hanging man in Vietnam over charges of drug trafficking. Now, Margaret Nduta MACHARIA, being a daughter of a resident of Kenya based in Murang'a County, she has been a topic of discussion. A lot of Kenyans, leaders from every corner of the country except the President of the Republic of Kenya, have come in calling upon the President of the Republic of Kenya to save Margaret Nduta MACHARIA from being executed in Vietnam. But what is the story behind Margaret Nduta MACHARIA? As we all know, every country has its rules, and everybody, whether you are a foreign citizen or you are a citizen of that country, you have to adhere to them. And Margaret violated one of the many rules that are set against drug trafficking in Vietnam. And she is supposed to face death tomorrow. She is supposed to take a last meal at 7:30, and our execution is supposed to happen at 8:30. But allow me to take you down into this story before even we review a few opinions and what Kenyans are saying and what other leaders are saying in regards to this execution of one Margaret Nduta MACHARIA, 37 years of age, who is expected to be executed tomorrow in Vietnam. Now, Margaret Nduta, a 37-year-old Kenyan woman, was sentenced to death in Vietnam for drug trafficking. She is facing an execution after the deadline for an appeal lapsed on March 12th. Now, the last appeal that Margaret was supposed to make was supposed to happen on 12th of March this year. But the period for the appeal lapsed, and that is why the family has been calling upon the president or the head of state to make a phone call to the president of Vietnam to at least extradite Margaret back into Kenya and have her executed, have her persecuted in regards to the Kenyan laws and according to the Kenyan constitution. Now, our family was on March 12th still making desperate pleas for the government intervention to save her life. Nduta was convicted on March 6th for trafficking 2 kilos of cocaine and now is facing an execution, likely by lethal injection. She was arrested in July 2023 while traveling to Laos, Vietnam. Her mother, Purity Wangoi, as she spoke on different media occasions, she is an heartbroken woman and determined to see her daughter one last time, though she has no means to travel to Vietnam. She says, "I must see her before they hang her." Struggling to come to terms with the situation, she questions how a daughter whom she raised with Christian values could have ended up in such circumstances. Maybe she was framed or she got into bad company. I have brought her up with strict Christian values. I am sorry on her behalf. I urge President William Ruto through my MP Didi Nyoro to take up a case. Let my daughter be brought back home and be jailed here. Vietnam has some of the strictest drug laws in the world. Anyone caught smuggling more than 600 grams of heroin or cocaine faces the death penalty. The country is a key transit point for narcotics, making it a high-risk area for drug-related crimes. Duta's family is struggling to understand how she ended up in this situation. Now, according to Alex Morumba, a relative, the family is urging Foreign Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi to intervene. And They said, "We are devastated as a family. We are not sure that Duta, who we know as a straightforward daughter who only ventured out of the country in 2023 to seek a fortune, became a drug peddler." Now, the urgency of the case has left the family frustrated. We learned of the sentencing on March 8th. Today is March 11th. It means that we only have until March 12th to help her appeal. The government should help us do so, Moromba said. Now, the urgency of the case has left the family frustrated. Now, the Murang'a Senator Joe Nyoto has also argued the government to assist in the appeal process. The government should help Duta appeal, win the case, and be reunited with her family. That's what John Nyoto said. Now, Duta maintains her innocence, claiming she had no idea she was carrying drugs. She said she was hired by a Kenyan man known as John to deliver a suitcase to a woman at the airport, after which she would collect a package to bring back home. She had received 167,000 as advance payment, with her flights fully covered, having passed security checks at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Ethiopia, and Qatar. She was shocked to be arrested upon arrival in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Now, when you look at this case where they are claiming that she is innocent, or she didn't know that she was ferrying drugs to Vietnam, but let me ask, which job as a Kenyan under the government of President William Ruto in the year 2023, you are called to deliver a certain suitcase to somebody, and you are paid, a deposit of 167,000, hata ukuwe mpumbavu kiasi gani. You have to have an idea that you are transporting illegal goods or something illegal, something that has the capacity of you facing such a penalty when it comes to such situations. Are we together? Now, the family has been crying. But one message that has caught my attention is the message of the Member of Parliament of Embakasi East, Honorable Babu Owino. And I want you to listen to what Babu Owino had to say in regards to this case. Now, msikize Babu.
Request the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, to assist this lady called Margaret Nduta, who is supposed to be hanged tomorrow in Vietnam. This lady did no crime. This is a lady who was at the wrong place in the wrong time. This is a lady who was misused, used, and abused. This is a lady who was used to transport drugs. We should not lose a Kenyan, Mr. President. You need to act with speed. You need to help Margaret Nduta. Margaret Nduta should not be hanged tomorrow. And I know that you can take your phone, you can call the Vietnam government, and we need not to lose this lady. We as Kenyans, we need to unite behind this lady because she's one of our own. Even if it is exchanging one of the cabinet secretaries who is corrupt in this government with this lady, let us do so.
Now, that is the message of Honorable Babu. He is even suggesting that we should exchange one cabinet secretary to take up the punishment that Margaret Nduta is supposed to undergo in Vietnam. But the question that I have, it's a man-hate man society and a government that hates its own people. And we all know that we have cabinet secretaries who have been rumored to be the greatest drug traffickers in this country, currently serving under the cabinet of President William Ruto. So, why is it so hard for the president to pick his phone and call the Vietnamese government at this crucial time to save Margaret Nduta? Because if the president is undermined tomorrow by 8:30, Nduta will be killed in Vietnam and she won't be saved. Our family will never get the chance, or the country will never get the chance to hear a side of the story, or justice will never be served in this case. That is what Babu Owino is currently saying. Now, allow me also to get to look at one publication one order made by the Speaker of the National Assembly, a publication by one Richard Onyonka, who said the Minister of Foreign Affairs must work to ensure that Margaret Nduta is repatriated from Vietnam and be tried under the laws of the country. Now listen, the 13th Parliament, 14th session, this is the Senate, not the National Assembly, the Senate, request for statement, urgent appeal for clemency and repatriation of Margaret Nduta MACHARIA from Vietnam. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to standing order. This is, a letter wrote by Richard Onyonka to the Speaker of the Senate, seeking to have them intervene in the case of Duta. And this is what Onyonka says. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53, 1, to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the sentencing of a Kenyan citizen, Margaret Nduta MACHARIA, in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, over allegations of drug trafficking. Mr. Speaker, my attention has been drawn to a report in one of the dailies that Ms. MACHARIA, a 37-year-old Kenyan, has been sentenced to death in Vietnam. This matter raises serious concerns about the protection of Kenyan citizens abroad and the role of our government in ensuring the legal rights and human treatment under international law. In this regard, I request the committee to, number one, provide details of the measures being taken by the Minister of Foreign Affairs to ensure that Ms. MACHARIA is given fair legal representation and to explore the possibility of a repatriation to Kenya for trial under our judicial system. Number two, submit a comprehensive report on the number of Kenyan citizens currently incarcerated abroad and the nature of the charges they face and the diplomatic efforts being undertaken to safeguard their rights. Number three, direct the Immigration Department to explain the security lapses that may have allowed an individual to leave the country with prohibited substances undetected and to outline steps being taken to strengthen airport security checks to prevent similar occurrences in the future. Number four, to plead for clemency on humanitarian grounds, seeking to have Ms. MACHARIA's death sentence commuted to life imprisonment or an alternative penalty and facilitate a repatriation to Kenya through diplomatic negotiations so that she can serve a sentence within our justice system. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, Senator Richard Onyonka, EBS MP. And he left his signature, Senator for Kisii County, March 14th, 2025. Now, this letter was written on Friday by Senator Richard Onyonka to the Speaker of the National Assembly. But all we can see is that the government is so adamant in taking any actions to try to save this lady. Why? Does the government of Kenya have any international relations with Vietnam? Now, one thing that we should all understand, Vietnam is a failed state, and this failed state tries to use other people or citizens from other countries as examples to serve, to serve as examples to their citizens because of the highly drug-related cases in Vietnam. I mean, somebody should not be a subject of, she shouldn't act as an example to a country that knows it has failed to put up a fight against drugs, then use a Kenyan citizen because of somebody that was used to ferry drugs to Vietnam unknowingly. Margaret Nduta should not be another statistics of failed drug policies. She deserves a second chance. That is what every Kenyan is saying. Now the ball has been left on the hands of our president. Mr. President has been able to do a lot, to change a lot, even to make a coalition that we could only dream of. Why doesn't he take the steps? You can't leave the issue of Margaret Nduta to the hands of Musalia Mudavadi. Musalia Mudavadi is an nincompoop. Musalia Mudavadi is an imbecile with a stomach and an orangutan face. Kizungu kubwa, kizungu nono. But we can't leave the issues the life of somebody under the hands of Musalia Mudavadi. If he can't even defend his own seat, he can't defend his own, uh, he can't defend himself. How are we expecting Mudavadi to negotiate for Duterte release? The only person that we expect to do this is President William Ruto. And as Babu Owino has said, William Ruto can just make a phone call to Vietnam and have Duterte brought back into the country to be charged under the Kenyan judicial system. What is your take in regards to this? Leave a comment in the comment section. See you in our next video. This is the Kenyan Daily Report.